Hey there everyone, welcome back to my 7-day Pilates challenge. It's day 3 already, and today I'm bringing sexy back. As you would know or may know, if you're new to following me or if you just happened upon this live, my name is Jennifer, and I have had a lot of back issues for many years, and Pilates was instrumental in helping me manage my back pain along with yoga and strength training. The yoga I started with yoga, got into Pilates and strength training, and yeah, pretty much never looked back. See what I did there? Okay, so today, as I said, we're focusing on the back. On Monday, we looked at Monday was a bit of introduction to the principles, and we looked at the breathing, pelvic placement, and we did a lot of the exercises we did was focused on the pelvic stability and flexion, lifting the upper body up into flexion, working the upper abs and some lower abs as well. And it was actually the first exercise in the essential mat work repertoire that I focused on day 1. Day 2, yesterday, we looked at the oblique muscles and how they work. Same side for side flexion, lateral flexion, how they help you with flexion as well. They assist the rectus abdominis with flexion, the six-pack abs, and how they work with rotation and twisting. And it was pretty intense. We started with activating the obliques, and then we went into doing some exercises specific to them. So today, like I said, my focus is the back. I love to work my back muscles simply because of all the challenges I've had with my back. And as we all know, when we get older, especially if you're not actively exercising right now, in time, what can happen is we lose all the strength in the back muscles. And if we're finding ourselves sitting down for extended periods of time on our devices, working and stuff like that, and we don't take frequent breaks, and we don't exercise and look at strengthening those back muscles, our posture is going to suffer greatly. So focusing on the posterior chain muscles, which is probably what I'm going to do for the next couple of days, is going to be really helpful in slowing down, if not stopping that process. Depending on how far along you are, you could potentially help to reduce that curvature of the spine if you have that. I do have a bit more of a curvature based on the spinal issues I've had, but I guess that's also too why I work so hard on trying to keep my back muscles strong, so that the extra kyphosis that I have in my mid upper back doesn't get worse. So we're going to start with a little bit of a warm-up and then get into it. I'm going to highlight 2 exercises today. One is called Breaststroke Prep number 3, and I'll share a couple of variations on that. And then the second one is swimming. This is one of my least favorite exercises in the Pilates repertoire, but I like to break it down and do different variations of it. And to help you, I find when you break them down, sometimes it helps students and myself connect to the muscles a little bit more rather than just jumping headfirst into it. So the back muscles, we're going to be focusing on the back extensors. The neck extensor is going to have to work as well, and it's really important to strengthen them too, because again of all the flexion that we're doing through the neck and making these muscles short, tight, and weak, as well as the chest muscles. So hopefully we'll help to counter that. One of the things I'll say, and I'll probably repeat it once we get going, when it comes to back extension, I know that oftentimes what we're thinking about is how high up we can lift ourselves up from the mat. But the issue with that is if you just focus on how high you can lift yourself up away from the surface you're on, there is a greater chance that you may dump into or compress your lower back. Your lower back is already in extension, and if you just lift yourself up, you're putting more pressure, most likely, into your back muscles and compressing those discs. So what I would say is, rather than thinking of just lifting up, think about reaching away from your anchor point, which would be like the pelvis, and then allow that to be where the lift comes from. So think of it reaching away, moving the 2 points away from each other and lifting up into extension rather than just cranking yourself up. Okay, so enough chitter chatter. I actually was hoping to keep this under half an hour today, but we'll see how it goes. Props. I have a yoga block. If I remember by the time I get to that stage, you could use it, or you could choose not to use it. Just for something that I like to do to help with the shoulder mobility as well as working the back extensor muscles. I like to incorporate isometric holds where you have to hold a particular shape for an extended period of time. I think it's important to do that because it helps to build muscular endurance. So that's what we're gonna do, so let's get into it. Just put my glasses down and we'll get going. So I've got my little crisscrossy mat thing going on here. I just realized my mat colors match my outfit. I'm so coordinated and without even trying. I didn't even realize that when I put everything down. Okay, so we're gonna start on the hands and knees, and for more stability, I recommend tucking your toes. However, again, anything I offer in these segments, don't feel pressured to do, especially if you know it's not gonna work well with your body, okay? Honor what's going on in your body first and foremost. What I would say is you can try it. If it doesn't feel great, stop. If you know it's not gonna work, don't even bother, okay? Always make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. One thing about placing your hands down though, however, you want to spread your fingers nice and wide. Make sure you are connected through the pads of your fingers so you're not putting all of your weight into the heel of your hands. All right, so once we get that going, we're just going to go through a couple of cat and cows, and you can do them like you would in your yoga practice. Pilates, we have a cat stretch, which is a little bit more structured, but I think we can just go for it here and get the whole spine mobile. So you can inhale, drop the belly, lift the sitting bones, lift the chest, and on the exhalation, pursing those lips. Get that protraction through the shoulder base, pull the navel in, and then go again. Inhale, extend the spine, draw the navel in, draw the shoulders back and down. I did touch on scapular mobility and stability, and so you know about protraction, retraction, depression, and elevation. Some of the ways that our shoulder blades move. Let's go again. Big breath in. Let's go ahead and extend the spine, and exhale, flex spine. Pulling that navel in. 2 more. Moving with your breath. Exhale through the pursed lips. Inhale, encourage the rib cage to expand to the sides and to the back. And exhale, go ahead and pull the navel in. Okay, good. I'll come back to a nice long neutral spine. And we're going to do a little bit of scapular mobilization here. So just squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other without bending your elbows or deviating from that neutral spine alignment. And then protract, pushing your shoulder blades away from each other. So you're pushing yourself away from the mat to protract, and you're drawing yourself closer to the mat. Again, you want to make sure you're not letting that happen. You're keeping the wrists connected. And we discussed yesterday how the obliques, those upper abs help with that. Do a couple more of these. This is really good for getting rid of a lot of stiffness in the shoulders, which can contribute to your neck tension. So you want to feel these shoulder blades moving nice and smooth on the back of your rib cage. Come back to what would be considered neutral, and now let's try doing a few circles in both directions. So you're going through the protraction, retraction, elevation, and depression, and now reverse it. So to refresh your memory, elevation is when you shrug the shoulders to the ears. Depression is when you take them away, slide them away from the ears. Good. And come back to center. I think we should be pretty good there. So just take a moment, come off of your wrist. You can circle through. And then we'll go forward. So next we're going to come back to this quadruped. So I said I'm going to look at breaststroke prep and swimming. So when you're on your hands and knees, this is one of the prep exercises that we're going to go into for swimming. So we'll start by just moving the right arm out first for like maybe 5 reps, and then we'll move the left arm and then add some legs. Okay, this is part of the warm-up. All right, so come back to that tabletop position. Nice long neutral spine. The neck is nice and long. So remember, we mentioned that whole head nod thing. We don't need to worry about a head nod now, but we do need to make sure that we're not tucking the chin into the chest, but we are keeping a nice long spine and incorporating that head as well. So pull your navel in, set your spine in neutral, take an inhale, reach your right arm out, and exhale, tip the fingers down. And 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Place the hand back down and switch. 1, 2, lift your leg, I want you to think about squeezing that inner thigh so you don't let the glutes help make the hip roll open. So what that would look like is this. Okay, we want to try to keep, you can't see my toes, but you want my toes are turning out to the side. When you lift your leg up, you want to make sure you're firing the glutes and you're stabilizing through the abs and you're engaging your inner thigh to prevent that rotation happening at the hips. So go ahead, spread the weight out through your hands, pull the navel in, gaze can be to the top of your mat for point of reference. Big breath in, exhale, lift and reach and tap the toe down. 2, you're going for 5 reps here. 3, 4, and 5. And bring the knee in. Switch sides. Take the left leg back, squeeze, pull in, reset, stabilize the shoulder blades, and 1. Work that inner thigh, make sure your toes are pointing down. 3, 4, and 5. Good, and release. Okay, I think we're pretty warmed up, so we're going to get into the first exercise, which is breaststroke prep. And I also did my mat like this for extra padding for my pelvis, but I wasn't sure which angle would be better for you to see what's happening with my back. So I think I will, if anyone can comment, that would be great. But I'm going to start doing it sideways so you can see, and I might stop halfway to do it this way with my head this way. Okay, so for breaststroke prep, before I lie down on my belly, I'm going to show you the positioning of your hands. So basically, you're going to bring your hands into this position here with one hand on top of the next. It doesn't matter which is on top. You just go with, I guess, what you could call your default. And your forehead is going to rest on the back of your hands like this. When you bring yourself into this position, you want to make sure that you've got your shoulder blades stabilized on the back of your rib cage. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and come into it now. And move my towel and walk out of the way. Place that back here. Okay. So, starting from your toes, you're going to spread your toes out. You can pick your right leg up, lengthen and reset, and do the same thing with the left. You're going to squeeze the front of your legs, and when you do that, you'll feel your kneecaps lift away from the mat. Keep that squeeze. Bring your spine into neutral. For some of us, the pelvis may feel super heavy on the mat to do that. For others, it might not. Pull the navel in. So I like to use the reference where you can imagine you have like a blueberry underneath the belly button, and you want to keep that blueberry from getting squished. So pull that navel in. Even if your belly's still touching the floor, by the way mine is, imagine it's not. You're pulling it in so much it's not touching anymore. And now for the shoulders. So I deliberately let my shoulders shrug up to the ears like this so hopefully you can see. So obviously they're not in neutral, they're in elevated position right now, creating a lot of tension in my neck. So I'm going to slide the shoulders away and squeeze them now onto the back of my rib cage. Okay? So legs are engaged, tummy's drawing in, shoulder blades are stabilized, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to start by just moving my upper body first. So remember what I said about lifting up into extension. You want to think about reaching the crown of your head away from your tailbone and use that as your, what's the right word? Use that to get the extension in the spine rather than just cranking yourself up. So let's take a deep breath into the back and sides of the ribs. On the exhalation, purse those lips, lengthen through the crown of your head, leave the forearms down, lift up. You should feel this in the mid upper back, and then exhale, slowly lower back down. One of the things we like to say here is to think about rolling a marble away with your nose. So inhale, get ready. Exhale, nudge that marble away with your nose. Reach to the crown of your head. Inhale here, and exhale down. Keep those legs engaged, keep the tummy pulling in. Let's go for one more. Big breath in. Exhale, nudge that marble away. Come on up, lengthen through the crown of the head and the back of the neck, and inhale down. Good. That's the first one. So take a look, you can relax a bit. And I'll turn this way to do the next one. So for the next one, you're going to keep the upper body up and bring the hands up to the forehead. And I'm going to switch which hand I have on top. Okay, here we go. So I had my left hand on top before, so now I'm going to place my right. Forehead is down. I'm going to go ahead and re-energize my legs. Pull my navel in, slide my shoulders back into neutral, squeeze it onto the back of my rib cage, and I'm ready to go. Take a deep breath in to get ready. Exhale. Oh, wait a minute. Come on up. Good. Hold this position here, and now you're going to take the hands up, the arms up towards the forehead. So big breath in, exhale, lift the hands up, and inhale down. And 2, and down. 3, and down. Big breath in, and exhale to release. Okay, how was that? It's a lot, but it feels really good because for me, again, my mid-upper back is where I carry a lot of my discomfort. So now we're going to put it together where we bring the upper body and the arms, everything comes up together. So just to let you know, this is going to be a little bit tougher because we're bringing up, we have more resistance now to work with. So again, think about creating that space, lengthening the spine, nudging that marble away before you lift yourself up, or to help lift yourself up, okay? So I'm going to go back this way. If anyone could let me know if it was better for you to see what I was doing with my head this way, that'd be great to know. If no one's there, well, hey, so be it. I'm going to come back this way. Okay, so we're going to go for 5 reps now of the full breaststroke prep number 3, and I've gone back to having my left hand on top. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. So, again, point your toes, press the tops of your feet onto your mat, squeeze the front of the thighs, lift those kneecaps off, pull the spine into neutral, navel in, remember the blueberry, draw the shoulders back and clear that neck from tension and squeeze your shoulder blades in a neutral alignment onto the back of the heart. Take a full breath in to get ready. Exhale, nudge that marble away and come up into extension. Inhale to lower back down. We're going to go for 5 reps. Big breath in. Exhale, come on up. Inhale to lower. And 3. And 4. And 5. And release. Hands by your wrists. Press yourself back into a shell stretch. So knees wide, toes connect. Shift back. Take a big breath in and exhale out. Great, so that's one of my favorite ones. Hello, welcome, welcome. Where we're focusing, or I'm focusing on the back muscles today. This is one of my favorite body parts to work simply because of all the spinal issues I've endured or had. And as I would have mentioned on Monday when I started this challenge, I still have some discomfort in my spine, but it's nothing compared to what it used to be before, at all. But hey, I'm grateful for the progress I've had over the years in taking care of my spine and my spinal health. So now I'm going to show you a variation with, we're going to get into that swim prep that I talked about before. And we'll start with the arms first, the legs, then do opposite arm and leg, and then do everything at the same time. And of course, an isometric hold is going to be in there as well, okay? And if I remember, by the time I get to that point, I will incorporate the block to show you how you can do that as well. Okay, so swim prep, we did a little bit of it before. We were on the hands and knees. So we're going to come back down onto, we're going to come back this way just because it was kind of nice to mix it up. We're going to come back this way for swim prep. So the alignment is pretty much the same as it was for the breaststroke prep. The only difference is now is that your arms are going to be stretched out in front of you and about the width of your shoulders. If it feels like you're bunched up in your shoulders here, to have the arms the width of the shoulders, and you need to go wider with your arms. If you need to go wider with your legs, go a little bit wider with your legs. I think that is totally fine. You could even do a little bit of external rotation at the hip if that feels better in your pelvis as well. Speaking of pelvis, pat it up if it feels uncomfortable being in this prone position on the belly. So for a swim prep, the arms are going to come out wide, palms are facing down, and your nose is hovering. So again, you're going to point your toes, spread the toes out, press the tops of your feet into the mat, squeeze your quads, the front of the thighs, hold the navel in, secure the shoulder blades onto the back of the ribs. So let's start by keeping the nose hovering, but just lifting the arm up. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, reach and lift, and inhale, down, and switch. And down. And you might notice one side seems easier than the other here. Up and down. Up and down. Tummy in. Up and down. Last one here. Reaching up and down. Whew. All right. Now let's work the legs. So we're going to press the hands down, or you can come up onto the fingertips and gently press the fingertips down, and the nose will hover again. So we're going to start with the right leg. So tummy in nice and tight, stabilize those shoulders. We're going to reach and lift, okay? So take a deep breath in. Exhale, reach and lift. Make sure the pelvis isn't coming up. And don't worry again about getting too high because you don't want to compress the lower back. So lengthen and lift. Keep reaching as you lift and lower. Big breath in. Exhale, lift. Incorporate that inner thigh, so squeeze it. Maybe even think about initiating the lift from there. 2 on each side here now. 1 more. And reach, lift, and lower. Last one here. Lift. Feel those calf muscles working, those hamstrings working, and of course the glutes. And release. Whew. It's hard work. Okay, so now I'm going to go back this way. This is actually kind of fun. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We'll do opposite arm and leg, and then I'll do what's called a lat pull. So the lat pull, the arms will start here, and then you'll bend the elbows out to the side. Okay? So let's do the opposite arm and leg lift first. So come back down. Arms wide, nose is hovering. And one thing to note, when we bring the arm up this time, the upper body is going to come up as well. Alright? Just now we were just doing the arms on its own, but now we're going to bring the upper body up as well. Okay. So come into your neutral spine, get that external rotation of the hip that feels better in your pelvis. Point those toes, squeeze those thighs, pull the navel in, pull the spine into neutral. Alright, nose is hovering. We're going to start with the right arm and left leg. Okay, so stabilize through the shoulders. Big breath in. Exhale, reach and lift. Inhale, lower and switch. Left arm, right leg and switch. 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. I think that should be 5. And 6. Oh, good grief. Let's do one more each side. And switch. Okay, good. All right, and release. So you can put your pillow with your hands, put your head on the back of it, and you can just bend the knees and do a little windshield wiper there. All right. How's everybody doing? If you can comment, please feel free to let me know how you're doing. Okay. So now incorporating that lat pull. So we keep the legs down. We're going to bring the upper body up into extension. Pull the elbows into the sides of the ribs. And then reach the arms out and lower back down. So we're doing 5 to 6 reps. And then we'll finish up, we'll wrap up with the isometric hold. Okay? Here we go. So arms wide, legs active, tummy's drawing in. I hope you can see the difference between an activated body versus not. So this is me relaxed. This is when I squeeze my quads. You see how the kneecaps lift off, so the quads are working. And that's helping me to keep my knees more straight. All right, so here we go. Stabilize, and we're gonna lift up, bend the elbows, reach the arms out, and lower back down. Still nudging that marble away. Exhale, inhale, exhale, and inhale. Exhale, squeeze, reach, and lower. Let's do 3 more. Up, squeeze, reach, and lower. 2 more. job. So the isometric hold is coming up. I'm going to count, oops, getting a message there. So as I would have mentioned the other day, I have an article out on boundaries, and I set a boundary for myself for how much time I spent on Instagram. And apparently Instagram just let me know that I'd reached my limit. Keeping me accountable, but I have to ignore my limit for today so I can finish this live. All right, so what was I saying? So we're going to wrap up now with the isometric hold. Now this is really challenging, so I'm not going to count out loud, but I'll tell you when to go and I'll tell you when to release, okay? All right, get ready for it. I'm going to face this way for the finale, because this is where I'm going to finish off. Probably do a little twist at the end, and then that'll be a wrap. So here we go, that isometric hold. So get ready, engage your leg muscles, stabilize your shoulder blades, take a deep breath in, and exhale, reach and lift. Three, two, one, and release. Good job. Press yourself back into a child's pose or a child stretch. Or maybe take a downward dog. I'm going to opt for a downward dog here. Or in Pilates, we like to call it a pike. Oh, that feels great. Feels so, so, so good. Oh, amazing. All right. Ooh. Okay. Come into a seated position. Oh! I forgot the thing with the block. Leave it for another day. I still have 4 more days. So come into a seated position. Stretch your legs out in front. Keep your right leg straight. Go ahead and bend your left knee. Option to keep your left knee right where it is, or your left foot, sorry, right where it is, or take it over to the outside of your right leg. Wrap your arm around the shin or hold onto your shin with your hand. Reach up on your inhale with the left arm and exhale, spin open to the left for your twist. Make sure you're not leaning back. You want to keep your spine long, still remembering our Pilates principles. Hold it here and breathe. Inhale, reach it up, and exhale to release. Go ahead and change sides. I think I see another ladybug. Yesterday, there was a ladybug that crawled onto my mat and I rescued it. It was a teeny tiny one. And after, I saw another one later on, and I think there's one over there now too. Big breath in, reach it up. And exhale, spin open to your right. Inhale, reach it up, and exhale to release. So just do a forward fold now, so both legs are extended out in front of you. You can elevate your hips on some height. Keep a slight bend to your knees. Take an inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, hinge from your hips and reach your hands towards your feet. Ankles, shins, knees, thighs, wherever they will comfortably reach, and allow you to maintain some length and lift through the spine. One more big breath in, expand those ribs nice and wide. And exhale, slowly, slowly lift up. And release. So that's it. I'm going to get my glasses to come on in. And my block to have a seat on. All right, so how did I do for time? Half an hour on the nose. So yeah, I think tomorrow, since we touched on the glutes today, tomorrow I will look at the glutes. I've got 3 glute muscles, so I may focus on the smaller ones first, and then day 5 could be the bigger ones. I don't know yet. I'm giving myself space to just see where this goes. You know, no real major agenda, but it'll definitely be something glute related tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something, and if you couldn't do it with me now, I hope you do it later. And please remember to share this with your friends. If you know anyone that's been wanting to get into Pilates and has been skeptical, I've been really doing my best to get a lot of information and a lot of tips and stuff like that, insights to help someone who may have never done it before to feel that it is something, or to know that it is something that they can try. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye.